to Pilates class. It's a beautiful day. Again, I wanted to get outdoors so we could hear the birds singing. Today we're going to use a few props. A ball, so if you have a rubber ball or a tennis ball, that's only at the start. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. A pillow, if it feels better to have a pillow behind your head for support. And two, either water bottles, soup cans, or light weights. And the last thing I'm going to use is a belt. Any sort of belt will do, or if you have a flex band or Dynaband, that's fine too. So we're going to start today with a release for the piriformis. Piriformis is right where your back pocket is. Some people it gets tight and cranky and it's an impossible area to stretch. So we're going to start by placing the ball underneath your right buttocks, right where the meaty part of your glutes are. We're going to cross the right leg over, open it up as wide as you can, and then just lean back into it. And you might want to move your body around a bit, make sure you're breathing. Nice deep breaths. And should feel a bit cranky. The crankier it is, the better the exercise is for you. If it feels too cranky, by all means take it out and just try it again another day. So each time we do this, it should be between 30 seconds and a minute. Well done. And uncross, and we're going to switch that ball over to the other side. So you can be seated in a kitchen chair for this. Chair should not have a whole lot of padding because then you won't get the full effect. But again, if it bothers you, padding might help. Just leaning back, moving your body around, finding that cranky spot. Make sure you're breathing. Let's go one more. Lean into it, breathe, and release. Okay, later on in the program, I'm going to be doing some exercises on my stomach and on my hands and knees. I know that's not a great great position for some people to be in. If you find that it's bothersome during that part of the exercise, feel free to find a countertop or a wall. So all you need to do is either lean against that countertop or wall, and all the exercises we do can be done in that way. So when I do hip extension, it can be done here, or opposition, lifting that opposite hand. It's good to be in this position because that really engages the back, or the muscles of your back to help protect your back. So if you can find a countertop, even better. Again, if that's too intense, feel free to start with the wall and then we can work our way down. If it feels better to have a pillow behind your head when you lay down, what we're looking for is that the chin's a little bit tucked. We don't want the chin to be up towards the ceiling. Some people, if you have forward head posture, that will happen. So it's way better to have a pillow there if that's the case. We're going to start with the shoulders wide, a little bit of a double chin. Just gently push the head into the mat and relax. And a low grade press, looking down at the knees if you can, and relax. And one more time, press, and just keep that low grade press and bring the arms all the way out to the side. And now we're gonna press the arms into the floor. Keep pressing, a low grade press with the head. And relax. Perfect. From here, we're just gonna let the arms come up a little higher, so making snow angels. What we're looking for is trying to keep the rib cage heavy as we lift and lower the arms. And up. Nice heavy ribs and down. Let's go one more time, just lifting up over your head to the highest position that feels okay for your shoulders. Tip the finger or the baby finger up towards the ceiling and just pick those apples. One side reaches way, way, way up and then the other. So just releasing those tight muscles of your back. When they get too tight, it inhibits that overhead arm movement. We don't like that. Go two more, one more, perfect. Okay, let's bring our elbows down to an L shape, and then we're going to press the hands and elbows into the floor. Ribs are still heavy, and relax. One more time, press, and relax. And now if it's okay to bring your hands behind your head, feel free to do that. If that's not a good position for you, just bring your hands across your chest. So again, looking down at the knees, we're going to start with a low-grade press of the head into the hands and widen out and press the elbows into the mat. Keep breathing. So we're starting out with posture and relax. One more time, low-grade press, hands and elbows, and relax. And now we're going to keep looking at the knees. Let's wrap the elbows around the ears, and we're going to try to use the muscles of the abs to lift your head up. So even though the hands are there, we don't want to be using them, or we want to keep them as light as we can, letting your abs do all the work. They're just there for support. Keep looking at the knees and lower down. Let's go 2 more. Big breath in and exhale up, looking right at your knees. And soften down. And one more time, up and hold. Keep breathing. And down. Perfect. Let's bring the left hand down to your left foot, or down to your side, and slide it down towards your foot. Sorry. And then the right elbow, widen it out as much as you can. Now, if you have weak abs, the tendency is going to be that you're going to want to lift your head up with your arm. Try not to let that happen. Instead, try to let your abs do all the work and just guide that shoulder towards your opposite knee. And then soften it down. 2 more. Big breath in to prepare. We're going to just guide that elbow up towards the knee and down. And one more time, big breath in. Really think of just lifting that shoulder towards the knee. And down. Perfect. Now left hand behind your head, right hand down towards your feet. Slide, slide, slide that right hand. Get all that tension out of your shoulders. Left elbow's nice and wide. Press it into the floor. And remember, it's the abs that's lifting your shoulder towards that opposite knee. And then release it down. And big breath in. Use the abs to guide that shoulder towards the opposite knee. And down. And just one more time, trying to keep the elbow as wide as you can. And down. Perfect. Okay, let's bring both hands down towards your feet. And now walk your feet up towards your hands. Shoulders are wide, pressing into the mat. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the glutes. A little energy in the big toe, and just lift up into that bridge position. Shoulders are wide, and make sure you're breathing. Gonna hold it there for 4 and 3 and 2. And now tap your bottom down to the mat again. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the glutes, and up we go one more time. Now the next movement's totally optional, but it is good for your hip muscles to do that unilateral movement where we're just unweighting one foot, trying to keep the hips as still as we can. Keep breathing, and down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, just unweight that foot, and down, and now lower your bottom down to the floor. Perfect. Okay, from here, let's bring the right knee up towards the chest. Bring it in far enough so you feel like your ribs are really heavy. Let's point that right toe, and we're going to lower that foot down, trying to keep your ribs as heavy as you can. And up. If that's easy, it's easy to keep the ribs down. Just take that foot further away from your bottom. So straighten it out and then tuck it in. So ribs are heavy, heavy, heavy. And down. And up. Totally optional. If you're okay with that, bring your other hand in. When your right foot lowers down, your left hand's going to reach overhead, keeping the ribs heavy. And come up and tap that knee to the hand. 2 more. Reach. Heavy ribs and up. And one more time. Reach. And up. Perfect. Replace that foot and float the other leg up until your ribs are really anchored to the floor. Start by pointing the toe down. Ribs are heavy as we start to touch the foot down towards the floor and up. Again, if that's easy, we just take that foot a little further away until it's a challenge to keep the ribs nice and heavy and up. And one more time, heavy ribs. If that's okay and you feel like you can do more, just tap that right hand to your left knee, and as you lower the leg down, the arm reaches tall overhead. Ribs are heavy, 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 and tap. Let's go 2 more. Reach and tap. And 1 more. Reach and tap. Perfect. Let's bring the other knee up to join the first one. We'll give the knees a little shake here. And now it's arms out to the side like an airplane. Press the hands into the floor, really working that posture. And then from here, we're going to let the knees fall to the right. There's a $100 bill between your knees. Don't let them separate as they fall to the right. The goal here is to keep that left shoulder as heavy as you possibly can. So weight it down. Exhale and hold. Big breath in as we bring the knees up and over to the other side. Now your right shoulder's as heavy as it can be. If there's a point that your shoulder lifts away, that's where you stop. Exhale, hold. Big breath in to come up and over to the other side. I'm going to give you an option. It's only an option. If you want to make it a little harder, we just add a little straighten, bend, and roll. Shoulders heavy. Totally optional if you want to add that straighten, bend, and roll. 2 more. Left shoulder's heavy as we go to the right, straighten, bend, and roll. And 1 more time, we're going to straighten, bend, and come back to the center. Just cross the ankles, give your knees a little circle here, and release the low back. And now let's go the other way just for 3, and 2, and 1. Perfect. And now while you're here, we're going to widen the knees out a little more. Ankles are still crossed. All we're going to try to do is find your tailbone and try to unweight it or lift it away from the mat, and then let it become heavy. And then just that little lift and release. There's always options. Anyone wants to make it harder, we just extend the legs. The lift can be bigger if you like, but really we're just trying to wake up those muscles below the belly button. Let's go 3 more. And 2 more. And just 1 more. Perfect. Okay, let's hold behind our right leg. Left leg, we want to find that, what we call the stabilization threshold. So we want to find that point, straighten the leg out, that you can lower it down without the ribs lifting away from the floor. And then when you find that point where you feel challenged but you're not stressed, we're going to tuck that leg in and do it again. Up, heavy ribs as we lower, and tuck it in. Let's go 2 more. Up, anchor the ribs, and tuck. And 1 more time. Up, anchor the ribs, lower it down, really press the ribs into the floor, and tuck. Good job. Same thing on the other side. Hold behind that knee, tuck it right into the chest. The other leg, we're going to straighten it out, anchor the rib cage, lower down to wherever that point is that you're not letting that back arch, and tuck. Let's go 2 more. Up, anchor the ribs, lower it down, and tuck. And very last one. Up, lower, and tuck. Perfect. From here, we're going to bring the feet together. Press the feet as hard as you're comfortable pressing them. Knees are in far enough so that your rib cage is flat. We're pressing the feet as we open and close the knees. So just opening and closing. And 2. And close. And 3. And close. And 4. Let's go 4 more. So working that glute med, really important muscle. muscle for your back to protect your low back. One more. Perfect. Now open up the knees, anchor the ribs. This exercise is easier going straight to the ceiling where we just zip the legs together and keep the heels pressed as we open the knees. If you want to make it a little harder, we just go down more towards the floor, so maybe out in a 45, but again, only to that point that you can keep the ribs heavy when you perform the exercise. Out, pressing the feet, and in. When you go out, we're trying to press the legs together and zip the inner thighs, and in. We've got 2 more, and in. Very last one. Good job. Give yourself a little shake. The great thing about Pilates is most exercises have 3 to 6 repetitions, so we move on quickly to another exercise. If you find that one exercise is too difficult, just hang out and relax until we get to the next one. We're going to come up to seated. Again, some people might not be comfortable seated on a mat. If you'd rather do this exercise in a chair, that's fine. We're going to hold behind the knees. This is a little prep to roll up. Again, if you'd rather roll to the side to get up, that's okay too. First thing we do is tuck the chin, look at the belly button, and as we pull the legs away, we're going to let the head lift up. And then come on down again. We're going to do that 2 more times. The next one has a little more momentum. And now the next one's a lot faster because we want to give ourselves some energy to come up to seated. Okay, we're sitting nice and tall on our sitting bones. We'll pull the toes back because that's the way we stand on the floor. Pull the shoulders back nice and tall. And then from here, we're going to look down at the belly button again and let the arms reach up. And now from here, just make sure your shoulders are retracted. And then tuck your tailbone forward, look down at the belly button, and just start to lean yourself back to whatever point feels okay and challenging for you, but it doesn't hurt. And squeeze your inner thighs, press into the heels, and up we go. Let's do that 4 more times. We're going to lean back to wherever that point is that feels challenging, and squeeze the inner thighs and come up. We've got 3 more. And squeeze the inner thighs. And just 2 more, leaning back to wherever your comfort zone is. And very last one. And now the next one's a little harder. If it doesn't feel good for you, just hang out on the mat because we're only doing 1. We're going to lower ourselves down with some control. So everyone can do this part. Gravity's on your side. We're going as slow as we can. So the low back's the first thing to hit the floor. Middle back, shoulders, head. And then when you get here, let's anchor the ribs and let the arms come way overhead. Take a brief second to press your hands into the floor and really open up that posture. And then from here, we're going to start to arch the arms up. As we do, we're going to nod your head like you're saying yes, looking at the tips of your toes. Squeeze your inner thighs, and up we go. It's just getting out of bed in the morning. And then lower yourself down. Control, control, control. Low back, middle back, shoulders, and head. Perfect. From here, we're going to roll over to our side. So you're facing me so you can see me. If you want to use that pillow under your head, that's fine. If you'd rather have your hand back there, that's okay too. How we set ourselves up on the side's important. We don't want to just succumb to gravity. We want everything to be tight. So we're pushing that top hip down, lengthening until we have a little room for a little trail of ants underneath your waist. Now the inner thighs are zipped, heels and balls of the feet together, as we use the muscles between our ribs and our hips on our side to lift both legs up. Relax your neck as you hold it here for 4 and 3 and 2 and down. Let's do that 2 more times. So lengthen out. See how long you can be. Inner thighs are engaged. Feet come up. Hold it there. Relax the neck. 4, 3, 2, and down. On the very last one, we're going to hold it. So come on up and hold. Here's an option, only an option. If you feel like you can add a little flutter kick, that's going to challenge the core a little bit more. So just like you're swimming, nice long legs going through the water. And now let's zip inner thighs, heels, balls of the feet, and down we go. Perfect. Okay, keep that long waist, press into the heel of that top leg, and we're just going to lift up to about hip height. So we only lift high enough so we don't feel a change between our ribs and our hips. We don't want the low back to get involved. And lower. So almost like you're pushing that heel right across the room as you lift and lower. Think about your low abs. Make sure they're still awake. Imagine somebody's going to give you a gentle push and they can't push you over. Let's go 3 more, just lifting. If you want to make it more challenging, don't let the feet quite touch. 2 more. And down. But remember, you can rest whenever you need to. Okay, on the next one, we're going to lift that foot up, point the toe right across the room, drag it through the water to come down. Press into the heel, reach and lift. Reach the toe and lower it down. Press into the heel, up we go. Reach the toe and with control lower. 2 more, heels and toes. Very last one, heels and toes. Now let's keep the toes pointed, just 4 more, up and down. 3 more, up and down. Just 2 more, up and down. Very last one. You've worked hard, give that leg a great big old hug. Well, we're here letting that top leg relax. We're gonna bend that bottom leg up. And then when you're ready, stack everything up. So we're not in chair position. We don't want it way up there. We want, if you're against a wall behind you, the head, bottom, and feet would all be against that wall. So the back of your body's aligned. Hips and belly button are facing forward. We're going to press the feet together and just open the knees to whatever point you can go without your upper body rolling, and then close. And 2, open, and close. And 3. And release. And let's go 3 more and release. Just 2 more and release. And very last one. Nice job. Okay, from here, if you have that water bottle or soup can or lightweight, now's a good time to grab hold of that. We'll wake up the rotator cuff. So beam your elbow to the side. Okay, and now with the elbow, we're just going to imagine opening the door. And so the elbow's pressed against your side, it's the hinge, and your forearm's the door, just opening and closing. Totally optional. If you feel okay turning your thumb back towards the back wall, that's just going to wake up those tendons around the elbows. So open, if you're okay, turn the thumb back, and then knuckles to the ceiling, and down we go. And 3, open, and down. Let's go 3 more. And just 2 more. And very last one. Now turn the knuckles or fingers towards me. We're going to let the arm come straight up to the ceiling. Let it sink and settle into the joint. And let's go with 3 little circles. 3 and 2. And pause and reverse. Let's go the other way. 3 and 2. Last one. Good job. And now we're going to bring that arm so that it's about even with your shoulder height. From here, we're just going to lower it to the floor and then lift it up to shoulder height. And 2, and up. And 3, and up. Just 3 more. And up. 2 more. And up. And very last one. And up. And release. Good work. Okay, let's get that inner thigh. So we're going to straighten the bottom leg right out. Top leg, a little easier if it's back here. In fact, if you've had a hip replacement, keep it back here because we don't want to cross the legs. If it's okay to bring that leg out in front, you'll find it's a little more challenging to hold it there, but it's really good for your flexibility. Bottom foot, we want to reach that heel like there's something just out of reach and pull your toes back to your nose. And then think of the inner thigh lifting that leg away from the mat and then letting it lower down. Again, it's a little easier if you let it touch the floor and give it a rest. A little harder if you keep it just elevated the whole time. Let it just hover above the mat. Let's go 3 and release. And we got 3 more and release. And 2 more and release. On this very last one, we're going to hold it there and just point the foot and then push, push, push into the heel. Again, nice long point, all 5 toes and heels. Let's go 3 more, point and flex. 2 more, point and flex. Last one, nice long point and relax. Perfect. Okay, from here we're going to roll over to our belly. This is a good time to have a pillow. If you don't happen to have a pillow, just do one arm at a time. So make sure that that other hand's supporting your head. I don't like to have the head not supported when we're on our belly. If you do have the benefit of the pillow, we're going to use both of our weights and we're going to bring the weights out to the side. Unless that's too much, then just make sure that just do it without the weights. So you decide. If it feels too intense, go without the weights. It's going to be easier with the elbows bent, so let's go L position and just lifting and lowering. And 2, and down. And 3, trying to lift those elbows right to the ceiling. Let's go 2 more. Last one. Perfect. If that's okay and it doesn't hurt, bring your arms out to the side. Find your happy spot. For some people it might be lower. For some people you might be able to come right out to airplane. Little double chin and we're just going to lift and lower. So working those rhomboids, the muscles between the shoulder blade that really are important for good posture. 3 and down. 3 more. 2 more. And very last one. Perfect. Okay, the weights can go down. And now we're going to push up onto our elbows. Try to pull your belly button up away from the floor. I'm going to do our little quad stretch here. So start with your toe pointed on your left foot and just squeeze that invisible orange behind the knee. As you're there squeezing that invisible orange, try to press that hip a little heavier on that left hip so we're opening up. And then try to slide that knee down a little further away from the shoulder. And if you're okay there and not getting any cramping, try flexing the foot and bringing it in a little further. You'll have more of a tendency to cramp in this position, so if you want to keep the toe pointed, by all means. Just going to take a few deep breaths, being heavy on that hip, giving that quad and hip flexor time to relax. That way when we lift our legs in a few seconds, we won't have to fight those tight hip flexors. And relax. Okay, let's go with the other side. Toes pointed. We're going to juice that orange behind the knee, way down heavy on that hip, and then slide that knee away. Just squeeze, squeeze, squeezing that invisible orange. If you're okay there and you can flex the foot and squeeze a little harder, feel free, make sure you're breathing. Nice deep, deep, deep breaths. Let's go one more deep breath. And now this position, being on your belly like this, is a really good kind of help if you're doing a lot of forward bending, gardening, or golfing, that type of thing. So if you have a cranky back, you might want to try hanging out in this position. Even better if you can go up a little higher and press up. That way, all that bending forward, it can cause some stress on the discs. And sometimes just coming back into this position will alleviate that stress and make you feel better. But again, trust your body. If something doesn't feel good, just skip that exercise. We'll be on to a next one soon. And then when you're ready, lower yourself down. Perfect. Okay, from here we're going on our hands and knees. Remember, you can use a counter if you like. You don't have to be up here. You can also come down onto the elbows if that's a better position. Or you could put that pillow underneath your knees. So you decide what works best for you. I'm going to show you something in this position quickly. While we're in this position, we want to have the creases of our elbows face each other. If you find that they're flailing forward, that's a sign of shoulder dysfunction. So without moving your hands, try to use those muscles to get those elbows to face each other, those little creases in your elbows. Fingers are nice and wide. You want that sensation that nobody can push you over. Pull your toes in because that's going to give you a little extra balance. And then from here we're going to reach that left leg out without lifting. And now think about your glutes as you let that leg lift to wherever you can lift without feeling any pressure or strain in your low back, and then lower it down again. And let's go 2 and 3. Nice long leg and down. 3 more. And just 2 more. And on the last one, we're going to hold it up. If it's your left leg that's up, we're going to unweight the right hand. If you feel safe to reach that arm overhead, we want to use all those muscles in your back to hold you in this position. Just hold it there, reaching that hand and foot away from each other for 4, 3, 2, and down. Nice job. Let's widen out through the knees. We're just going to rock through the hips, back and forth. Give your low back the time to relax and release before we go on to the other side. That rocking is a really great way to lubricate your hips. Perfect. Okay, let's go back to the knees right underneath the hips, making that little box. Check your elbows. That right leg's going to reach out. Now think about your glutes as you unweight that foot and lift it up to whatever point you can lift without straining your back, and lower. And 2. Remember, nobody can push you over. You're strong here. And 3. Let's go 3 more. And just 2 more. And very last one. Check your elbows, make sure they're still in that good position. And then we're going to unweight the other hand. If this is hard for you, keep it above the floor. It's your right above the mat. It's your training wheel. If you fall, it will protect you. If you're okay to lengthen and reach, like there's something just out of reach, hold it there and breathe for 4, and 3, and 2, and perfect. We've got one more side to go. So let's put our pillow over on the other side and switch over to the other side. Have that weight or water bottle nearby. And now remember, we're nice and strong here, lengthening through that top hip. Room for a little mouse under your hips. Squeeze the heels and balls of the feet, inner thighs together as we lift. Holding it there, relaxing the neck for 4, and 3, and 2, and down. Let's do that a couple more times. So squeeze, lift, and hold, lengthening. Let those feet go as far away from the top of your head as you can. Nice long spine. And down. One more time. Lift, relaxing the neck. Totally optional if you feel like you can do that little swim kick. You just challenge your core a little bit more. It has to hold you in that position. And now let's zip. Heels, balls of the feet, inner thighs, and down we go. And now nice long waist as we press into the heel and lift that top leg up and down. And 2, and down. The core is awake and alive. 3, and down. We've just got 3 more. And 2 more. And very last one. Perfect, perfect. Let's go heels up, toes down. Heels and toes. Heels and toes. 2 more. Heels and toes. Very last one, heels and toes. Now let's go with just the toes for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Nice job. Relax. Give that knee a great big old hug. From here we're going to slide that bottom leg up and stack everything up here so the head, bottom, and feet are all against that invisible wall. Hips, belly button facing forward, pressing the feet together and opening up to wherever it's okay for you to go without rolling that torso, and down. And 2. And down. And 3. We've got 3 to go. 3 more. And 2 more. You're almost there. Just 1 more to go. Perfect. We'll give those legs a little break as we hold on to that water bottle. And we want to glue that elbow to the side of your shirt. And we're just going to open up that door with that forearm and close. And totally optional if you can turn the thumb back like you're hitchhiking and then knuckles up to the ceiling again. And 3. And down. And we've got 3 more. 2 more. And very last one. Perfect. Now the arm comes up to the ceiling, let it settle down into the shoulder joint. And then from here we've got those 3 little circles. 3 and 2. And let's pause and reverse those circles. We'll go the other way. 3 and 2. Last one. Okay, we're going to bring that arm down to shoulder height. And then we're going to drop the hand down towards the mat and up to shoulder height again. And 2. And up. And 3. And up. Let's go 3 more. You're almost there. Just 2 more. So working those small muscles around your shoulder. Relax. Nice work. Okay, from here we're going to lengthen that bottom leg out. Top leg behind or in front. You decide. If you're in front, try to open up that hip. Bottom foot's nice and flat as we just lift and lower. And 2. And down. And 3. And down. Relax the neck. Just 3 more. 2 more. On the very last one, we're going to hold it there and flex and point. Press into the heel and then reach, reach, reach the toes. Heels and toes. 2 more. Heels and toes. Very last one. And toes. And relax. Nice work. From here, we're going to roll onto our backs. Feel free to keep that pillow behind your head. It might feel good when you're stretching. We're going to use the strap now or the flex band. If you don't have a flex band, just hold behind your knee and straighten that leg. If you do have access to a belt, today we're going to use a nice straight leg. Push, push, pushing into the band, trying to lengthen that leg. You'll have a far better quality stretch if your leg's straight and somewhere down here than if you bend the knee. So try to really straighten out. And now try to stay even through the back of the hips as you keep breathing and pull that straight leg up towards the chest. So you can pull with a fair amount of torque as long as there's no stress or it doesn't hurt. With stretching, it should be to the point of stimulation, but it should never be a shooting pain. Nice deep, deep breathing as we hold it there. We want to give it that 30 seconds to release. Relax. Deep breathing. Give that hamstring a chance to relax. One more deep breath. Try to draw the breath right up to where you feel any sort of stress. Perfect. Okay, release. We're going to use the other foot. Right in the middle of the foot. Gonna draw that straight leg, pushing into the band, trying to create as much length as you possibly can in that leg. Deep breathing as we draw that leg towards the chest. A few more deep breaths, trying to draw the breath right down to where you feel any sort of tightness or tension. Imagine that leg lengthening and relaxing as you go a little closer to the chest. Let's go one more deep breath. Perfect. Okay, let's hold behind the knee. We're going to use the knee to help bring us back to a seated position. We'll do a little more stretching with the band or the belt. We're just going to hold it here, nice and wide. Let your arms come up to wherever you can go. And reach towards the ceiling. Keep the ribs connected with the hips in the front. Now some people might be able to go over. If you can't, don't do anything painful. Make sure you're only going to that point that feels okay for you. Perfect. And now we're going to drop one half of the belt behind our head. So we're going to pat ourselves on the head. Reach the other hand behind the back. And now it's just the old towel draw. You can have your arms as far apart as you need to. If it hurts to have your hands behind your back, skip this exercise. So when the top one straightens, the bottom one bends. When the bottom one straightens, the top one bends. So just back and forth. Top one straightens, bottom one bends. Bottom one straightens, top one bends. Let's go two more. Just like you have a towel behind your back and you're drying yourself in the shower. Now the top hand goes to the bottom. Bottom hand comes up beside your ear. When the top hand straightens out, the bottom one will bend. When the bottom one straightens out, the top one will bend. So just that little back and forth movement. 3 and 4. 2 more. 5 and 6. We're going to do a little bit of rotator cuff straightening, so let's have the elbows be right at your side, knuckles are facing the ceiling. And now with your right hand, the great thing about this is if you have a rotator cuff injury, sometimes moving or motion hurts. So when you have something like this that doesn't move, you're still going to do some what we call isometrics, where we're not moving the muscle, but it's waking up and engaging. So with your right hand, try to pull your left hand away. So just like you're trying to hitchhike or move that hand towards the back. And keep breathing and relax. Let's do that again. We're just going to a little low grade. Pull with that right hand. Left hand's just holding it in place. And relax. Let's go 2 more. Pull. So this is a great early stage rotator cuff exercise. If you have pain, nothing's moving, you can't hurt anything, but you'll wake those muscles up. Now left hand, same thing. We're going to try to pull, but the other hand's not going to let it move. Again, 2, and just 2 more, and very last one. Perfect. Let's let both hands come all the way out. Same thing. This time we're going to pull with the right and relax. If that hurts, keep the elbow close to your body. 2. Let's go 2 more. And let's go 1 more. Perfect. And now the left. 4. Relax. 3. Relax. 2. Relax. Last one. Okay, now both hands. We're going to have a little tug of war with ourselves here. Breathe, breathe, breathe. 4 and 3 and 2 and relax. Nice job. Let's bring one hand out in front like we're shaking hands. We're going to bring that hand as close to the ear as you're comfortable going. Turn your little baby finger so that you're touching your opposite shoulder. Try to keep your head high, high, high. And now, depending on how you feel, you could have it be non-supported like it is and just work whatever range of motion is okay for you. You can push maybe up here if it hurts to lift your other arm overhead, or if you're okay lifting that hand way up and pulling the elbow up. And now once you get here, let's push that elbow straight up into that hand, right up towards the ceiling. And then while you're here, let's push the head back into that forearm. So now we're really working our posture as well as stretching our triceps. And breathe, breathe, breathe. Now let's try to push our elbow up a little higher, opening up between the ribs and the hips on that side. And release. Perfect. Same thing on the other side. Shaking hands. Let your hands come up to the highest point that it's okay for you to go. Once you get here, reach a little higher, like there's something just out of reach. Turn your little baby finger around so that it's going to try to just slice your opposite shoulder blade. And now your decision whether your hand comes here or up here. If your hand's all the way overhead, just push that elbow into your hand. Low grade press with your head into the forearm. Hold it there. 4, 3, 2, and now let's just slide both hands behind the head. Widen out through the elbows. Just going to open up as much as you can through the elbows and wrists. Perfect, and relax. Now let's bring one hand behind our back. Just gently pull that hand down towards the mat or the floor. Give yourself a double chin and let your ear fall away from that hand that you're pulling down. So if you're pulling your left hand, the head goes over to the right. And now let's hold that right wrist. Keep the double chin, look down at the floor as we bring the ear over to the left. And then all the way back to the center. Release both hands. Let them come all the way up to the ceiling. Now press the hands into the ceiling. Just look up past your hands. Reach for the sky. And then come on down. Take a bow. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next week.